Hello, everyone. We are here with episode 6 of our Coast to Coast Lifestyles, showcasing Heather over in Washington and on the other side of the country, me with Elevate over in on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. So today we are going to be talking about our market. So it'll be a market update and then also kind of contrasting some of the differences of what's going on, because as you know, market real estate is very market specific, but I'm sure some things will be similar. So Heather, I'm going to go over just briefly, hit the high points of ours, and then I would love to hear how it compares to what you guys have going on. So
sure.
Let's see. So I'm using for my example today Harrison County, just because I would say it's kind of like the average of the surrounding counties. It's certainly not the only county that I work, but it is one of the larger counties, so the information tends to be a little more consistent. So this is a report from RPR, which our Realtor Association provides, and it shows we are still in a seller's market for sure. And so we've got about 3.5 months of inventory. So for those that don't know, that's how many months it would take for everything that's on the market now to sell if no new homes came on the market. And then our list of sold price is pretty close. It's just under 96%, which is down a little bit from last month. And then our days on the market still very low. I'm sure yours will be to it. Now, this is how many days it was actually actively marketed. So I'm not sure if yours will be exactly the same as far as that goes. And then our median sales price is right about $250. It's actually up a little bit from last month. And our property values, estimated average or median, is actually up 10% from last year. So that's hitting the high points of our market. How's it going over there?
Oh man. Yeah. So very different kind of market, as we know. So our inventory right now, little hard to see. Let me zoom in here. But our market right now is at 1.6 months of inventory. And this kind of just shows the trends over the years. Unfortunately, at the moment, I don't have previous months like October, but we have 1.6 months of inventory for last month in November, with a median sales price of $1.4 million. And this, again, is Seattle's east side. So that includes Bellevue, Redmond, Kirkland, Sammamish, I believe it's Issaquah as well. So anybody who knows the area, that's kind of what that is. It does not include Seattle itself. It includes some of the land east of it, east of Lake Washington. So yeah, our median sales price is $1.4 million, which is a 6% increase from last year in November. And then I guess another big highlight is just kind of showing the trends of what is happening with offers right now. So like our average days on market and how it affects like selling above list price, at list price, below list price is pretty interesting. But that's kind of the quick overview of ours. I know it's a little bit different information from yours, but as Cassie and I were talking about right before we hopped on here, is our RPR, for some reason, while we have access, doesn't necessarily update the way that your region does. So
it looks like it's real rough for buyers right now, huh? Is it pretty tough to be competitive if you're a buyer?
So what's really interesting is it depends. If your home is in tip-top shape and amazing and beautiful and literally move-in ready, it's fine. And if you price it super competitively, you will still see occasional multiple offers. But in general, it's actually not too bad. It sounds and looks a lot scarier than it is. Buyers are able to get more like closing costs covered and stuff like that from the seller, which is really nice. And as you can see here, there's been a lot of price changes, still about 59% of price changing or selling below list price. So despite the months of inventory being super, super, super low, it kind of is acting closer to a balanced market.
Right.
Yeah, which is interesting.
I think it's very interesting, and I think we kind of see this across the board when I'm looking at these stats here, and it's like if it sold above the list price, average 5 days on the market. So like either they're being priced very competitively, they're in tip-top shape, and they're flying off the market, or not as much.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I think that's I think one thing that's I think pretty consistent with our markets and kind of across the board is really important to just price it competitively on the front end. And so the other thing I wanted to kind of talk about is our average, like our kind of what is like an average kind of house for you, because I know we're talking mine is like median sales price is 250 and yours is like 1.4 million, which I'm sure that's not, if y'all didn't catch our previous episodes, we got like Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos and everybody over there, also kind of making that number go up. So I know that might not necessarily be like your average house is a 1 million, even though that's your average sales price. So like I just was curious to see like what is like an average house for you.
Sure. Let me pull up the next tab. So there's actually two that kind of truly fall into the realm that I pulled aside. So just for visual reference, for those who aren't aware, like this is all considered East Side. So you got Seattle here, but Seattle's East Side is basically this area here. You can't see my cursor, I just noticed, but it's basically between Lake Washington, which is between Seattle and Bellevue, and then Lake Sammamish. But here is one that went pending last month. And this is actually $1.23 million in Kenmore, which is basically kind of between Kirkland and Bothell, if you know our areas very much. But it's on about a 72, I think, believe 100 square foot lot. Decent garden, hardwood floors, decent little layout, newer appliances, newer countertops, been definitely renovated for sure. And this one was built in, I'm trying to remember, 2005. So this one is almost 20 years old as well. Okay. But that's a pretty average thing for that area. Do you want me to show the next, or do you want to cover a couple and then we come back?
Yeah, I just was going to briefly go over, kind of when we're looking at our average price point here, which is around that 250 mark. Actually a lot of, because our inventory is still very low. So certainly we have, some average homes that aren't new. But I just wanted to kind of showcase a little bit of like, we have some newer communities that actually fall in line with that price point. So we have some here. This is D.R. Horton. So this like starts in the 240s. It's a little lower on the square footage. But then we have some over here, like this is the 260s. So brand new construction, I would say, that 16 to 1900 is probably about our average, house, square footage. And then, we've got some other builders too, that, also fall in, and this is pretty common, like architecture here. You'll see kind of some similarities. And then we have another builder here. And these homes, this is kind of more of like a New Orleans type feel. This is Elliott Homes. And so they've actually got some, starting in the 230s. For this particular one, they actually have some that are even in the 160s. And there's definitely some like, buy downs on rates and things like that. So that's kind of what I wanted to showcase for today. We might dig a little deeper another time. onto kind of, comparing some different houses. But I thought that was pretty cool. The builders are really doing a good job here of keeping things affordable and offering, brand new homes and still staying within that price point. So, but yeah, I want to see the next one you have, because I don't see $1 million houses every day.
Yeah. Yeah, so we got another one. So on your point on square footage, by the way, that last house we looked at is about 2,100 square feet. This one here is about 1,900 square feet, built in 1980 originally. And this one is in Redmond, which is basically where Microsoft headquarters and a few other bigger companies are as well. Again, very techy. So this one, by the way, is more of a split level style, which is definitely a dated style for our area. I'm not sure if split levels are popular around the country or just really around us, but still a great little layout for this one. So you got a, sizable little living room, and again, been updated a few times, it looks like, over the years. But yeah, that gives you kind of a decent idea. This one is about the same size lot. So you got a little bit of a lawn, but not wow, ginormous is not a word. Ginormous. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, so these are like very average houses. So this is the one that we looked at first right up here. And then this is the one I was just looking at. So this one actually closed last month.
Okay. Very cool.
But yeah,
very interesting.
So that's ours.
Hey, out of curiosity, because I don't think we've ever talked about this. Do y'all have basements there?
Some homes.
Random question today.
Yeah. So we do have some. Most of the traditional, I guess, more or less basements are going to be in actually the 100-plus-year-old homes in Seattle, which is where a lot of those older homes are still standing. Aside from that, if you have newer construction homes, they're probably going to be more like daylight basements. So like my house, for example, has a daylight basement where one wall is against the foundation and the other wall actually has access to the outside, for those who don't know the definition. So daylight basements in more modern construction are more common, but are they super common in general? No, not nearly as common as the East Coast, as far as basements go in homes.
Yeah, very cool. You? Maybe in a future, we do not. If we have a basement here, someone made a very big mistake because they're very. We have a few, and they're very like our water level. I don't know what it's called, but anyway, it's not a good thing at all. Yeah. So anyway, we do not have basements. But I think it would be cool to dig in on a future episode with kind of some of the architectural differences and different features and things like that. And so anyway, we've got some exciting things coming up, and then we're going to be starting a renovation project soon. So maybe we could dive into that and as well in a few weeks. So we will definitely see you guys again, same time, same place, which will be Wednesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Central. And we look forward to seeing you guys then.
Awesome. Thanks, Cassie.